It starts with a sound that only I can hear, a faint tick inside my left ear, like a watch pressed against bone. It is not a steady forward tick I grew up with. It is raw. It pulls time backward in tiny, precise steps. I stop in the grocery store aisle and press my finger to my ear. I swallow. I yawn. I ask the pharmacist if there is wax buildup. She shines a light, shrugs, and tells me my ear looks clean. The tick keeps going. At work, I mention it to my supervisor in a casual tone like it is nothing. He laughs once and tells me I am stressed. My coworker says it's probably tinnitus. I nod, because I want it to be something simple. That night, I lie in bed and listen to the ceiling fan and the refrigerator cycle and the tick threading through everything. A quiet metronome that does not match any rhythm in the room. The next morning, I find the watch. It is in the cup holder of my car, sitting where my loose change usually lies. A plain stainless steel case, scratched on the edge, leather band worn soft. I do not remember owning it. I do not remember buying it. I do not remember even seeing it before. I pick it up and the tick in my ear sinks to the watch in my hand. My throat tightens. The watch face is simple. No date window. No brand name. The second hand moves backward. I blink hard. I tilt it in the light. The second hand continues to crawl counterclockwise as if the world has agreed to reverse itself. I tell myself it is broken. That is the only sane explanation. I do what I always do when something feels off. I lie to myself. I say out loud, alone in the driver's seat, I have never seen this watch before. The second hand stops. The tick in my ear stops with it. Silence drops so suddenly I feel weightless. Then the watch jerks. The second hand begins moving again, still backward, but faster, like it is punishing me for the sentence. The tick returns in my ear, sharp and impatient. I swallow. I whisper I have seen this watch before. The second hand slows to its previous pace. The tick softens. The relief is immediate and disgusting, like scratching a rash. My skin prickles. I put the watch on my wrist because something in me believes that is what I'm supposed to do. The leather band fits like it has been worn by my body for years. All day I test it in small ways. I say, my name is not my name. The ticking accelerates backward and angry. I say, my name is my name. Ed calms. I say, I did not forget to send that email. The watch snaps into a faster backward rhythm and my stomach drops because I did forget. When I admit it, the watch relaxes. By lunch, I am not thinking about the watch is broken. I am thinking about it as a judge. I drive home after work under a low sky that looks bruised. The tick in my ear has become a companion I hate. It makes every silence feel like a trap. At a red light, I catch my reflection in the rearview mirror and I flinch. There is dried foam on the edge of my windshield. I do not remember going to a car wash. It is not much, just a chalky line along the bottom corner, but it is enough to make my chest tighten. I rub the glass with my thumb at the stop sign and it smears, leaving a ghostly streak. The nearest self-serve car wash is on my way. I tell myself I am being practical, that I am simply cleaning my windshield. The truth is that I need to do something with my hands that is not picking at my own thoughts. The car wash sits behind a closed tire shop, a row of concrete bays open to the wind. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead. A vending machine hums beside a change dispenser. The ground is wet even though it has not rained. I pull into the far bay. The others are empty. The moment I step out, the tick in my ear gets louder. Not volume exactly, but presence, like someone leaning close to speak. I feed bills into the machine. The coins clatter into my palm. I choose the spray wand and test the trigger. The hose jerks like a living thing. Soap first. I switch to foam and sweep the nozzle across the windshield. White froth blooms over the glass, thick and opaque. The tick in my ear becomes a count. 3 backward ticks. What? Words start to appear in the foam. Not letters written on the glass. Not dirt patterns. The foam itself thins and darkens in strokes as if something underneath is warming it from below. The message crawls into clarity across the center of the windshield. You said you would not lie to me. My mouth goes dry. I step closer until my breath fogs the edge of the foam. The letters are not neat. They look like they were dragged out of the soap by a fingertip. I jerk my head back and look around the bay. Nothing. Just the empty lot, the hum of lights, the distant traffic, and the tick in my ear. I laugh once, sharp and involuntary, and it sounds wrong in the concrete space. I tell myself it is a prank. Someone wrote something on my windshield with a hydrophobic marker and the foam is reacting, revealing it. I say, out loud, this is just residue. It is nothing. The watch on my wrist speeds up, second hand racing backward. The tick in my ear stabs. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. I force myself to correct it. I say it is something. The watch calms. The tick eases. I switch to rinse and blast the foam away. The words vanish in sheets of white sliding down the glass. For a second, I feel foolish. Then the foam on the hood begins to thin in a new pattern. I aim the wand and spray again, but the words form faster than the water can erase them. I know what you did at the parking lot. My grip slips on the wand. Water jets sideways and hits the concrete wall, splashing my shoes. Parking lot. The phrase feels like a bruise I have not touched. I search my memory, flipping through the last few days. Work, grocery store, gas station. Nothing sharp enough to deserve a message. Unless there is an image that rises uninvited, like a bubble from deep water. A parking lot at night. A sodium light humming. The feeling of being watched from behind a row of cars. I do not see what happens next. The image breaks apart. My heart pounds. I realize I am holding my breath. A car pulls into the lot. The sound of tires on wet concrete makes me flinch. Headlights sweep across the bays and catch the foam dripping from my windshield, turning it into a pale mast. The car is an older sedan, dark color, windows tinted. It rolls past the first bay and stops at the one next to mine. The engine turns off. For a long moment, nobody gets out. The tick in my ear is loud enough that I feel it in my teeth. I watch the sedan through the open space between our bays. The interior light clicks on. A man steps out. He is average height, wearing a jacket too light for the cold, hair neat like he cares about appearances. He closes the door gently, as if not to wake someone sleeping inside. He looks straight at me. His face is not familiar, but he wears recognition like a smile that never reaches the eyes. He raises his hand in a small wave. I do not wave back. He walks toward the line between the bays, stopping where the concrete divider ends and the open air begins. He does not cross into my bay. He does not need to. I keep the wand pointed at the ground. Water hisses. He says my name. I freeze. Nobody here should know my name. I say, who are you? The watch ticks backward faster. The ear tick sharpens. The question is not a lie, so I do not understand why it reacts. The man tilts his head. He says, you are doing it again. I swallow. My mouth tastes like metal. He says, we already met. You promised you would stop acting like you do not remember. I step back until my spine touches the cold concrete wall of the bay. The wand hose drags and bumps my ankle. I say, I have never met you. The watch on my wrist goes wild. The second hand blurs backward. The tick in my ear becomes a drill. Pain blooms behind my eyes. The man watches me carefully, like he is watching an experiment. He says, your watch does that when you lie. My stomach flips. I glance down. The watch is still racing. I force the words through clenched teeth. I say, I do not know you. The watch slows a little. The tick eases enough for me to breathe. The man nods, as if that answer satisfies a technicality. He says, you do not know me now. That is different. He takes a phone from his pocket and taps the screen. The glow paints his fingers. He holds it up. Not close enough for me to grab, close enough for me to see. A photo fills the screen. It is me, not a selfie. A candid shot, taken from a distance. I'm standing in a parking lot at night, half turned, mouth open like I am speaking. The edge of a car is visible beside me. The lighting is yellow, harsh, familiar. And next to me, slightly out of focus, is the man. His arm is around my shoulder. My knees threaten to buckle. I say, that is edited. The watch snaps faster, backward fury. The tick in my ear spikes. The man does not react. He simply swipes. Video. There I am again, moving, laughing. The sound is muted, but my body language is unmistakable. I lean close to the man as if sharing a secret. I tap my wrist, pointing at the watch I am wearing in the video. The same watch. The man in the video lifts his own wrist. He is not wearing a watch. In the next second, the video shows my hand unbuckling the leather strap and placing the watch into his palm. He closes his fingers around it like it is a gift. I feel sick. My voice comes out thin. I say, when was that? The watch steadies, as if pleased with the question. The man lowers the phone. He says, you are always better when you ask instead of deny. He steps closer to the boundary again, but still does not enter my bag. He says, you told me you needed it off your wrist sometimes. You said you could not breathe with it judging you all the time. You begged me to hold it for you. Then you came back for it and you acted like I was a stranger. My mind scrambles for a way out that does not involve running. Running feels like admitting something I do not understand. I glance at the exit of the car wash. The lot is open. I could get in my car and drive, but the foam, my windshield, is still covered in streaks of it, clinging like snow. I look back at the man. He says, do you want proof you asked me to meet you here? He does not wait for an answer. He taps his phone again and turns it toward me. A message thread. My number at the top. My profile photo. The texts are from me. Meet me at the wash. Same bay. Please, bring it back. I cannot do this without it. If I pretend not to know you, do not let me leave. My throat constricts. I stare until the words blur. I whisper, that is not me. The watch explodes into frantic backward ticking. The ear tick becomes unbearable. I clamp my hand over my ear and gasp. The man watches, expression almost tender. He says that is you when you are scared. He gestures toward my windshield. He says, look. I follow his gesture despite myself. The foam on the glass has shifted. New letters emerge in a thinning soap, slow and deliberate, as if written by an invisible hand. Do not drive, my pulse stutters. I say, is that you? The watch steadies. Now the lie. The question hangs. The man shakes his head. He says, it is not me. It is you. You leave yourself notes. You just use soap because it disappears fast. I stare at the words until my eyes water. My hands tremble so badly the spray wand rattles against the concrete. I try to remember coming here before. I try to force the memory into existence. There is only the smear of that parking lot image, the feeling of a promise made in desperation. The man says, you asked me to stop you if you tried to run. You said you would lie. You said you would say you never met me. He takes one step into my bag. The air seems to tighten. I lift the wand instinctively, pointing it at his chest like a weapon. Water sprays in a thin stream and splashes his jacket. He does not flinch. He says, you cannot wash this off. I squeeze the trigger harder, switching to high pressure without thinking. The jet hits him and drives water into his clothes. He still does not move back. His eyes do not leave mine. He says, tell me the truth and it will stop hurting. The tick in my ear is so loud it blots out the hum of the lights. I want to scream at him to leave. I want to tell him he is insane. I want to tell him he is trying to gaslight me. But the watch, I can feel it on my wrists like a pulse. I can feel how it punishes denial and rewards admission. I say, I do not remember you. The watch eases. The ear tick softens just enough that I can think. The man nods. He says, good. That is a start. He reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out something small wrapped in a paper towel. He holds it out. I do not take it. He unwraps it slowly and reveals a key. A plain car key, worn smooth. My stomach drops because I recognize the scratches on it. A pattern I once made with my own nail while waiting in traffic. He says, you left this with me too. I glance at my own key ring in my pocket by habit. My fingers find it. I pull it out. 2 keys. Same wear. Same scratches. For a second, my vision tunnels. I say, that is impossible. The watch jerks into faster backward ticking. The ear tick bites. I correct myself, panting. I say, I do not understand how that is possible. The watch calms, almost smug. The man takes another step closer, now fully inside my bay, standing in the wet, foamy runoff. He says, "You're going to get in your car and you are going to drive. You always do. You think if you move fast enough, nothing can catch up." He lifts the key again. He says, "But you asked me not to let you." I tighten my grip on the stray wand. My shoulders ache. I say, "Why?" The watch steadies. The man looks past me at my car, at the windshield still carrying the ghost of words. He says, "Because the last time you drove, you did not make it home." The concrete seems to tilt. I whisper, "What do you mean?" He does not answer right away. He raises his phone again, thumb hovering over the screen like he is about to press play on something I cannot unsee. He says, "You begged me to show you if you forgot. You said you would rather be terrified than blank." The foam on the windshield shifts again, as if responding to that sentence. New letters appear beneath the fading ones. IT is in the trunk my breath catches. I stare at the message until my eyes burn. The words do not look like a prank. They look like confession. I turn my head slowly toward my car, toward the rear, toward the outline of the trunk lit under the fluorescent glare. The tick in my ear counts backward like a countdown. The man says, "Do not lie to yourself this time." My fingers loosen on the spray wand without meaning to. The water stream dies. In the sudden quiet, the backward ticking is all there is. I take one step toward the back of my car. The watch face flashes under the light, second hand sweeping backward, steady and sure. I reach for the trunk release. Behind me, the man's voice drops to a near whisper. He says, "Before you open it, tell me your name." I freeze with my hand hovering over the latch, and the tick in my ear stops as if the whole world is waiting to hear whether I tell the truth.